Hello everyone, it's Balabod, and yet again I am joined by Eramengo.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So last week, on the making of last week, we discussed finishing off all of the assets and things and trying to get more towards a finished game. And during this time, I'd finished college. I had so much time to work on this game. I got so much done.
After finishing college?
Yeah.
Okay.
But then there's almost a year where I got nothing done on the game.
Mm-hmm. And why was that?
Well, after getting everything I did last time done, finishing college and everything, I spent so much time job hunting and doing freelance animation to try and save money for going to Japan.
Yeah.
And then having to actually arrange going to Japan, getting visa, getting needles and things, having to sell everything off, trying to study Japanese.
Yeah, buying a grandma's mobile phone.
Exactly, yeah, all that stuff. It turns out that phone didn't even work once I got there as well, which...
No, I know, I remember the story, man. It was a tragedy.
And then once I got to Japan, I was living in a hotel for a while. And so I took my PC apart and left the case and the monitor and things.
Yeah.
I just took the expensive parts.
And I remember this time. It was a bleak time in my life. You disappeared for quite some time.
Because the problem is I couldn't really rebuild the computer when I'm living in a tiny Japanese hotel room.
No, and we were going through a similar thing, I think, actually, because my computer had burned out around about the same time, and we were both without PCs, and it was kind of getting to us a bit. And I don't know, I did speak to you sometimes. Where did you get access? You must have got access to Skype from somewhere.
Yeah, I had a little Chromebook.
Ah, okay.
That I picked up for a couple $100 just to let me go on Skype and stuff. But I couldn't work on the game. I couldn't play games.
It was a sad time, man, for both of us.
It really was.
Our GTA 5 businesses went under in that period of time.
So we never went back to them either.
I think we did briefly, for a moment, for a hot second, but it didn't last.
But yeah, once I was actually in Japan, trying to actually learn Japanese, I had a full-time job and, Japanese hours where you never actually finish working.
For sure. But you were enjoying it as well, it was a big experience.
Oh yeah, it was great. Yeah, I loved it there. But it was so much, I had no free time whatsoever. Between trying to learn how to live there, learn the layout of the town, doing a full-time job that never really finishes, and studying Japanese.
Yeah, for sure, man. It kept you busy, kept you on your toes. And last week became last week's news, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah, just really basic things I found. I'm just going to go to the shop and pick up some milk. That's going to take an extra 10 minutes because you have to slowly translate the bottles find out which is the right milk to buy.
And you were cycling everywhere as well, right? During that time?
Yeah, I didn't have a car, so I'll tell you what though, I've never been in better shape all my life than when I was in Japan.
Yeah, I suppose you wouldn't be if you were cycling everywhere.
I had thighs like Chun-Li.
You could kick fucking 10,000 times a second.
As soon as I left Japan, that's it, ruined.
Well, you did move to North America as well, which is, land of the cornstarch.
It's all poutine from here.
Oh man, I've never tried that, but it looks fucking amazing.
It's very much okay.
Is it just okay? Is it cheesy chips and gravy, basically?
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, well I have tried it then, and it's pretty fucking good, to be fair.
it's not bad, but it's also not the greatest thing in the world. Here it is.
It's it combines three of my favorite foodstuffs, but three of my favorite foodstuffs that I don't really like to have together. Cheese, great. Chips, great. Cheese and chips, great. Chips and gravy, great. All together, yeah.
Cheese and gravy.
I'm not 100% on it myself.
That's the flaw.
Yeah, it's a tricky one to get right, I suppose. But anyway, how did you get back on track, man? How did you find a way to make last week a reality, given everything that you were going through in Japan?
Well, after a year of this, it was back in the distant year of 2018. Cast your mind back yet again.
So long ago. I'm not even gonna. Last time I googled what came out in 2012, whatever it was, but yeah, 2018. It was a while ago, and stuff happened.
Wasn't that long ago?
No.
Yeah. So once I got apartment and got my PC built and everything, I was sort of more used to Japan. My Japanese was better, so I didn't have to devote so much time to everything else.
Yeah.
It meant I finally had free time again, and so I came back to the game. I'm gonna finish this thing off. And if you ever wrote an essay and you read it back to check it, and it makes perfect sense to you, but then you hand it in and they're like, this is full of spelling mistakes. And you're like, how did I not see them?
Yeah, this is pure trash.
Yeah. It's the same when you're drawing. Anyone who's ever like drawn a picture and then you like mirror it and you just realize it's all completely wrong.
Yeah, and you see these progression things as well, don't you? People improve so much through their creative journeys, if you like, and books and stuff. The number of reiterations that people write when they're writing a book, it's it's such a huge step. So you went back and had a look at last week in its old state, and you were horrified? Is it safe to say?
A little bit, yeah. It was nice to go back to it with fresh eyes. You can sort of like see all the things that went wrong.
Yeah.
Because if you're working on it every day, your brain kind of shows you what you want to see a little bit.
Absolutely.
And with a drawing, you can just mirror the drawing. You can suddenly, your brain's like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. I can see all the flaws. You can't really do that with a game.
I don't really know about that technique of mirroring a drawing.
Oh, really?
No.
And anyone who's ever drawing anything like Photoshop or something, just flip it, mirror the drawing, and you will see all of the flaws instantly. It's the weirdest thing.
Okay. I'll have to try that sometime. I'm not an artist, but I know artists, so I'll do it with one of their pictures instead of mine.
With them writing as well, if you have like a text-to-speech read out to you.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
That's another sneaky thing.
And then you get like any inaccuracies or become more real kind of thing.
Yeah, like some spelling mistakes that you might overlook or things that sound weird that you might overlook.
Yeah. This is why all writers have someone proofread their work, I suppose, as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
Someone
absolutely.
else, a fresh set of eyes, can spot something that you would skip over every single time.
People are terrible at noticing their own mistakes when they're working on something. Like, your brain just convinces you, like, oh, this is perfect.
This is absolutely fine.
And so going back to it after a year of not working on it, it was kind of annoying, but also really great to be able to see, hey, like, this part's trash, this part needs to be changed.
Yeah.
This could use an extra scene. And so even though last week I was talking about, like, oh, I can't add any more, I need to be strict with myself.
Yeah.
After saying this, I was like, I'm adding a couple extra cutscenes and a couple extra endings.
I need to make some changes here, for sure.
Some people got a rewrite. A lot of scenes got changed. Just like a couple more extra scenes to add context.
Okay.
And then we had a finished version of the game.
The first pre-alpha release.
Yeah, it was like, it wasn't really finished.
No.
But it was like a game you could play from start to end. It had all 7 days. It had a few different endings. You know, it was like an actual game you could play. It was more finished than most things that go on Steam these days.
Yeah, well, that's a fair point. A lot of things are very unfinished on Steam.
To be fair, I probably could have uploaded this to Steam at like episode 2.
Yeah, and been like, yeah, give me your money so I can afford to finish this game.
At this point, when I had a finished game, I felt like I needed other people to test it. Because as I said before, you can't really test your own work very well.
Yeah, of course.
And luckily I had a whole bunch of friends that when I was talking about this were saying like, oh, I can't wait to play it, like I'm happy to test it. And then not one of them fuckers did, I tell you what.
Those absolute bastard. Wait, was I one of those?
You were, but you had a good excuse, because you just had a baby at the time.
I had just had it, yes, that's right, I had just had it
Hey.
at the time. Congratulations, me.
Congratulations. You did it, kid.
But I did play some of it.
I think you played it like before this point, though. I don't think it was finished when you played it.
Yeah, probably not, no.
And then, which is a shame, because you were like the only person willing to test it. And then when it came time to like actually really, really needing...
Get the proper tests done.
Because like when you test it was more like, hey, like, can you run around? Can you jump on roofs?
Yeah.
Whereas this was like, I need people to actually play the game and tell me if it's fun and what parts don't make sense. And like, so tell me about the finished product more.
But I did get into it when there was some element of discussions and stuff on it. Some characters were talkable, and I know from watching these videos back that I've seen parts of it that definitely weren't there when I played it. Like I don't remember the beaver being there, for example. I don't know if that was a character that you added in late or if it was just like I completely missed it or what, but there were definitely some things that had changed. Like I remember the opening cutscene and stuff, you know, that was definitely in when I played it through the last time that I played it, and I did a couple of playthroughs on it. But no, I'm not sure exactly what state it was in at that time. I'm actually searching my PC now to see if I can find the version of it that I have.
Yeah, because no one was willing to test it, I had to test it myself. But it was kind of a problem, because not only was I trying to test everything I just did myself and like see past the flaws, it's I also didn't have a controller, and it had controller support.
Yeah.
And so for the longest time, I programmed the controller in and just had no idea if it works or not.
If it worked at all.
But luckily, my boss at the time in Japan,
Yeah.
she had a PlayStation 3 and she never played it. So I just took her controller sneakily.
You just snuck it out. You didn't even ask about it.
No, like I taught her and stuff. It's like, can I borrow this for a second? She's like, oh yeah. And then I just forgot to give her it back for like maybe 6 months.
Can I borrow this for a hot minute? 1 year later.
Literally, like as I was leaving Japan, and I was like, by the way, I've still got your controller. Here you go. Like, I know you haven't been able to play a PlayStation 3 like for the majority of this year, but here you go.
So she was like, it's okay. I only play Monster Hunter on my PSP anyway.
Yeah, she actually doesn't really play games. She had a PS3, and I was like talking to her about games, and she doesn't seem like she has any games for it, which was weird.
Maybe she just uses it as a DVD player.
Yeah, I think so. Just for the Blu-rays.
And they had the big push for the PS3 TV as well, didn't they? Like for a while, which I don't know if they had that in Japan or.
I actually bought my boss some games because I was like chatting to her about like kind of games that weren't what she thought they were. Because she starts the idea that like games are Mario, old side-scrolling Mario, and I was telling her like, no, like games have like interesting stories and stuff now.
Time to change your worldview.
She loves like detective stories and like drama. Yeah, and so I was like talking about like a bunch of games and things. And there's a few she said she liked the sound of, and so I got a L.A. Noir.
Oh, L.A. Noir was a good game.
And I think she liked it, but she didn't like driving around.
Okay, yeah.
And she kept crashing. And I was like, you can just tell the other guy to drive. She's like, oh, I didn't know that. I give up. And just like, never went back to it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then I was talking about like some other games, and she really liked the sound of Catherine's story. And so I went out and bought her Catherine, and then I came back to work. And it was like, oh, hey, look, I found this. It was like, a couple of yen. It was like so cheap, so I thought I'd pick it up for you. And she's like, oh, thanks. And like opened it and like saw the cover and just like put it back in the bag. I was like, yeah, thanks. And like sort of wrapped the bag really tight and like hid it away.
Yeah, mistake.
I was like, that was weird. And like the guy who worked there was just like, that's a fucking ballsy move.
Yeah,
and your boss like Catherine. I was like, well, it's a good game. Like,
it is a good game, but it is strange content.
It's not even that rude when you play it, but like all of the marketing for it just made it seem like it was pretty much born.
Essentially.
I also got like really hacky looks when I bought that game. Like the woman behind the counter.
Really?
Just like, yeah, she's like looking at me and like looking at that, just like,
yeah, a white man buys this game. Yeah, I can see it. Yeah, a little bit, I suppose. But it's like, bitch, you're selling it.
Yeah, exactly. Man, like to get like secondhand games there though, it is so cheap and they're all in perfect condition. I think like Catherine in the box, like brand new condition, was maybe like £2 or something.
Yeah, that's crazy cheap. That's like the price GameStop would pay you for it.
Exactly, yeah. And so I'd like pick up a bunch of sort of cheap games for her and be like, hey, try this. I don't think it really got her into gaming, but it was worth a try.
Yeah, and then she never did. We didn't mention LA. We were talking about Noir Detective being the best way to do detective last week, and we didn't talk about LA Noir.
That is a weird thing that we didn't go to that.
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things. It's kind of it's a great game, but it's very forgettable.
I think it's memorable, but for all the wrong reasons.
Possibly, yeah.
It's not memorable for like the story or the characters. It's memorable because of the weird faces.
The weird faces and the bugs and shit, and like the idea that it was like you should be able to tell from people's facial cues if they are lying or not. And then you're like, this guy is making the weirdest faces. He must be lying. Nope, he's telling the truth.
Every single person looks like they're having a stroke at all times.
But it was such a clever idea. I just think the technology wasn't ready for it. Hopefully Rockstar, now they've got a lot more power behind them and they might be able to make a LA Noire 2.
Do they own the rights to it or is it Team Bandai?
Ah, good question. I don't know.
I don't know, but either way I'd love to see a second one. Because, as weird as the first one was, I did enjoy it.
It's an idea that needs expanding on, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. Anyways, we're so far off topic here.
Yes, we are. A lot of that can be cut, probably. Let's move on.
Cut like a solid 10 minutes out. So anyways, yeah, people wouldn't test it. Everyone sucks. Back on topic. There we go. So I was trying to bug fix it, and I've had like so many nightmares about bug fixing anything to do with programming.
Yeah.
Everyone always talks about like, oh, you fix one bug and then you realise that works, but now two other things don't work. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I didn't find that to be the case. Everything went pretty smoothly.
Well, I guess this is one of the benefits of developing by yourself, because every piece of code, every piece of that engine that you used was all crafted and put in place by yourself. So when you come across a bug, you're like, oh, yeah, I know, I coded this, I did this wrong, kind of thing. You go back and you fix that, and it's only connected to that one part of the game. Whereas if you've got like 20 coders working on the same game, it's like, oh, well, whose piece of code is this bug actually in? And how many locations in the game does it affect? And then you have to kind of trace back from there. But when it's just you as a solo project, it's arguable that bug fixing is a little bit easier.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Like, I would hate to program with someone else. I feel like it would just be a nightmare, like, logistically. For a small project like this, it's probably best to have one guy focus on the programming.
And then someone else do the art and etc.
Or in this case, I do everything.
Yes, absolutely. Even including the testing.
Yeah, sadly.
So the bug fixing didn't take long?
I mean, it still took a while, but it wasn't like I wasn't redoing the work over and over again.
Yeah. And what was your process then? You went in the game, played it to death until you discovered a bug, and then what?
I mean, that's pretty much it. Just played it like a million times. And each time I played it, I would try and do something a little bit different, unless there was a specific bug I wanted to try. If I was just playing it, like just try and find bugs, I would just always go for like different order of people, maybe like try and take a different route. And there was like one bug that I really, really liked and was like tempted to keep in the game.
As a feature.
Yeah. When you're like skipping menus, because if you hold escape, you get like a circle that shrinks in. And when it reaches like full white, then it skips the next scene.
Okay.
And you can like sort of hammer the key and make it like grow bigger and smaller. And you can bug that out so much. And it was weirdly interesting and fun. But it was so
like
easy to break.
Like some kind of escape pressing visualizer.
Yeah. It was a weird one. And part of me wishes I kept it, but it was too easy to break other things.
And that's the point, isn't it? It's not really worth breaking something intentionally, because you know for a fact that would get, if it got big, that would get review bombed because of that one bug.
Yeah. So I feel like I ended up getting it pretty much bug free, other than one of the achievements that were not working, but I couldn't realise that until it was actually uploaded to Steam and people were unlocking achievements.
Yeah, for sure, man.
I think since release, there's been like very, very minor things I've updated it with.
I don't know. I would say that it's not very minor to have your game display in multiple resolutions at the same time.
I still don't know what that guy was talking about.
Haven't heard anything.
He just didn't reply.
Okay. I'll give it a couple of months. We'll do an extra bonus episode when that mystery is finally solved.
I doubt it's ever going to be solved, honestly.
Hopefully. I would like to see a resolution to it.
Me too, but I'm not holding my breath.
So what happened next?
After all the bugs were fixed, I tried to work on the menus. Actually tying it together.
Yeah, of course.
Because currently you start the game and that's it. You're going day one.
Because we talked about like getting a little tutorial in to help people understand exactly what they were doing and what the game was about.
Yeah, I wanted like a starting menu.
Yeah.
If like you can start game or you can do a new game. I wanted options, as you say, like a tutorial and sort of a progress chart to say which endings you've completed.
Yeah, and I really like that addition actually. I have seen that for somewhere, but I think it was just the pictures that you sent me. I like the way
I think that honestly makes it so much more satisfying and coherent, just having that one extra screen in.
Definitely. It gives everyone the opportunity to see exactly what they've done and what they have left to do.
Adding that stuff, I thought that would be so easy. It's like, you're just adding a menu with like a button to say start game. And I found that like the Unreal Engine, it's very much geared towards certain types of games.
Shooters.
Yeah, like shooters, racing games, things like that. It's like, it's got so many tools built in for. But then other things, like the talking mechanics, there was nothing for talking.
You just had to make that up as you went.
Yeah, and like for menus and things, same thing. There's like almost nothing there. So there was like no controller support for menus at all.
Oh, really?
In like even like trying to program it in manually, it was very difficult. You were like very much fighting with it. I think since then it has been added.
Yeah, I was going to say there must be an add-on or something that you can get to allow you to do that.
But like the version I was using is like 4 years old at this point.
Yeah,
and as soon as I tried to upgrade it to the new version, everything I'd made so far just broke and it wasn't really worth fixing it up.
That makes sense.
The other weird thing, there was no option to control the audio volume.
Oh, really? Like in terms of dropping the sound effects versus the music and stuff like that?
Yeah, you can branch them off into different groups. So you'd have like the sound effect class, the music class, but there's no way to control the volume of them. It was the weirdest thing.
That's trippy. So did you have to program that in yourself?
I tried, and it would not play ball. So in the end, there was no option for that. There was a time where I did have the option for that, but it involved going to the next version of the engine. Like literally, I think the version I was using was like 4.14 or something.
Right.
I'm not sure, but it was the next version was like 4.15. The next version after the one I have is that added audio options.
Oh,
And just to go up to that version, so much of the game broke.
it's so frustrating, man.
Yeah. It was like literally remake every NPC or just don't have sliders for the audio.
Oh, I think, yeah, the latter option is definitely the smarter option.
Yeah. There was a version of the game that had sliders for the audio. I got it all fully working, but just like so many other things were broken that I ended up going back to the previous one.
I think that's the best thing you could do. That's the kind of thing that makes somebody not release a game in the end, isn't it? Trying to get too bogged down in something like that.
It was a shame, because I would have liked to add the sliders in, especially after I actually got them working.
Yeah, and especially, you know, given the music and stuff and the audio cues, as we've talked about several times so far, they play a very important part in the game.
Yeah, like things like that are really weird and difficult to add in for the Unreal Engine. But speaking of audio, we should talk about the music. Last time we said we're going to chat about the music.
Yeah, you talked about the gentleman in question who you'd worked with before.
This guy, his name is Ray Ginsberg.
That's the one.
And I met him on Newgrounds many, many years ago.
Oh, wow. That was a portal. Let's just leave it at that.
For all them youngins out there, Newgrounds was like, before YouTube was a thing, people used to make little cartoons on a website called Newgrounds.
Yeah, cartoons, games, flash games, all kinds of stuff went up there, right?
Yeah, it was like, honestly, I used to love Newgrounds back in the day.
Between Newgrounds and Armour Games and Albino Black Sheep, it's where I spent like all of my time on the internet back in the day.
Right? Those were the three websites everyone went to before like Facebook and YouTube took over.
I think before even like MySpace became a thing.
Yeah.
Like Newgrounds was around, wasn't it? It still exists today. Go check it out. There's still some interesting shit on there.
Yeah, I still go on every now and again.
Yeah, you got to check it out.
So like long, long ago, when I was first learning 3D animation, I worked with Ray because he was doing music on Newgrounds and I was doing animation. I was like, hey, kid, I got a job for you.
Yes, boss.
Yeah, like work together on this animation. It was a terrible animation looking back at it, but you know, we're starting out. It was fun to like do stuff in it.
Is it an animation that's on your YouTube channel now, or is it?
It is.
It is?
Yeah, but I don't recommend going and watch it because I say it's pretty bad. But you know, I learned a lot from it, and that was the whole point.
Yeah, it's part of the process, isn't it?
Everything that's on this YouTube channel is like things that I've made to learn something from.
Yeah, and you've developed various skills in doing so.
Like all of my good stuff is on other people's channels, I find.
Yeah, well, I mean, I would disagree with you there. There's some damn fine animations, but it's hard to not be critical of yourself, I guess. But I feel there's some damn fine animations, and you know, your viewing stats alone for things like the Journey video and stuff like that are proof of quality, you know, and Space Bear and stuff like that.
Yeah, Space Bear I actually do quite like. Space Bear and Mandrew, they're the two.
Mandrew is good. The Journey one's the best, though. It is the best. And I don't know why you don't like it so much, but it's fucking amazing. It encapsulates the experience of Journey to a T.
But anyways, before we get sidetracked, I need to talk about Ray.
Yeah, talk about Ray.
He's like a really nice guy. Worked with him on that animation. And when I was working on this, I was just like, for some reason, I kept thinking of his music and was like, it would fit so well here.
Yeah, when you know, it's like in the movies and stuff, you know, they go, oh, you know who we need for this? John Williams. And Balbod's there making his game. He's like, I know who I need for this. I need Ray Ginsberg. Old Kinsey himself.
Call up Kinsey. We got a job.
He'd ring him, be like, Ray, it's Balbod. I'm putting together a team.
So, like it was kind of like that. Like I knew I wanted this one guy for it, and I was like messaging him on Newgrounds. But obviously, I mean, you know, as we were saying before, it's an old website. I haven't spoken to him on there in years.
Yeah, when's he going to check that?
And so there was no reply. And so I found his SoundCloud page.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I made an account on there, I messaged him on that, and again, nothing. And it's like having such a hard time trying to get in contact with him, because I haven't spoken to him in years. And I ended up using his music, and it fits so well. His music, it's kind of strange. I think it was more just like him messing around when he was younger. I don't think he even makes music anymore.
Yeah, maybe not. It's just an experimental thing that he was going through. Or maybe he does, and he does it under a different name.
Maybe, but he hasn't updated anything in a long, long time. And like even the music he had uploaded, a lot of it just like starts very abruptly, and ends very abruptly. It was almost just like he's like jamming out for a bit and just like cut like 10 minutes out of it. But like it's got like a really good like emotional impact to his music, I think, and it's like it really fit the tone of the game.
Yeah, well, a few people mentioned the music when I was looking through the comments.
Yeah, like the video I sent you, the guy playing it through.
Yeah, exactly.
He takes a moment, like stops and's like, I need to applaud you guys, like who made the game for the music.
Brilliant.
And there's a guy, like the only reason we're talking about this is because the guy on Steam was asking where the soundtrack is.
Yeah,
like,
that's
the music
right.
is ridiculously good.
Yeah, it would be a real shame if Ray never got to find out that this music was in this game and people were still talking about his tracks that he laid down.
It was almost like that, like, because I just put the music in anyways. And I was just like, he'll get back to me eventually. I'll try and hunt him down. Mm-hmm. And it was just in there for so long, and it was getting near releasing the game. And I was just like, I still don't have permission from him for actually using his music, and I can't like release it for money if I don't have his permission.
Shit.
And I was like, everything I did to try and find him, I could not manage it. And then out of the blue, Sam was just like, my good buddy Sam.
Yeah.
I realised last week we mentioned him and didn't explain who he was. My friend Sam was just like, so I found that Ray guy on Facebook. Do you want me to message him? I was like, yes, please.
Amazing. Because you don't use Facebook, right?
Yeah, it is like literally like maybe a week before
release.
Yeah, he finally messaged me. He's like, yeah, it's okay. And I was like, I was so ready to like delete all the music and just replace it with like royalty free stuff, but it wouldn't have been as good.
And that would have been to the detriment of the game, yeah. But you did also use a little bit of the old classic MacLeod music, right?
I think it's pronounced MacLeod, but it's weirdly written. It is written like MacLeod.
Yeah. Well, it's like the guy from Grand Designs, isn't it? It's the same.
I don't know. I don't think I've ever watched Grand.
Kevin MacLeod.
I know what Grand Designs is, but I don't think I've ever watched an episode of it.
Okay.
Do you reckon it's the same guy?
Could be, man. Could be. He is a man of many talents.
If you go on like Kevin MacLeod's website, like the musician Kevin MacLeod, he's also randomly like made some type of graph paper and sells graph paper.
Okay, that's bizarre. Two things to mix together.
The most unlikely combo of like royalty-free music and graph paper.
Very strange.
He seems like a nice guy whenever I've seen like interviews with him and stuff. And his music is used everywhere. Like every YouTuber used to use his music back in the day.
Yeah, definitely, man. They still do to this day. It definitely isn't the same guy.
that would have been like really out there if it was.
Wacky as shit, yeah.
There's music, graph paper, and Grand Designs.
What a guy.
Yeah, I ended up using Ray's music for the main 5 themes, because there's like 5 days where you're walking around talking to people and stuff. Tuesday's the cutscene where you find out the world's ending, and day 7 is like the end of the world.
Yeah.
And so for the 5 remaining days, I used each one has like its own theme, which is when you wake up in the morning, you like hear a snippet of it on the radio, and then it plays throughout the day as you're going around.
Okay, so a different track for every day. That's a cool idea.
And sort of get like progressively more like imposing as it goes on. So day 1, it's like it's all like it's happy music. It's like very relaxing, and then like day 6, you're like, oh god, I'm gonna die.
And that's a tragic overture, I guess.
Yeah, so I took his music, and as I said, some of it started and it ended abruptly, and so I had to like make a couple little intros or outros. But other than that, I was like straight in there.
And then I guess you found the right spots and looped it.
No, it doesn't loop, but luckily each track's long enough that you kind of don't need it to loop. You're probably going to finish the day before you finish the music.
Oh, really? They're that long? Okay.
And so I did that for the main 5 days, and then Kevin MacLeod's music was for like the cutscenes and extra like little bits here and there.
Yeah. Just some little touches.
So it was a nice little way to go about it. I feel like, Ray's music is like the main music.
Yeah.
And then like Kev's is almost like the supporting music.
Which is great because you're using the music that people aren't all that familiar with, which it will make it more effective, because if people had started up the first day and it'd been like, din, 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 din. Oh, it's every YouTube video ever. Din, 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 din. Yep, I've heard this music before. And then obviously you've got something a lot more impactful when you've used not your own music, but something from someone else that you're familiar with and not a lot of other people are.
Yeah, I think it goes a long way.
No, definitely.
Do you remember back in World of Warcraft when those had like those royalty-free sound effects that you heard everywhere?
Yeah.
And just like it seemed so out of place. They were totally fine for the thing, but because you'd heard them before and you associate them with something else.
And you're looking at a AAA budget game, like high budget game as well. You wouldn't expect them to be in there. So, and I can't remember what we were watching or playing something the other day, and it was like this baby sound effect, and it's the same baby sound effect that you hear every fucking way. That.
I know exactly the one you mean.
Just gone on, exactly. Just from that noise, you've just gone on soundeffects.com and just fucking pulled up baby and used the first one that's dropped into your lap. It's lazy sound design,
Do you know what's a really weird one that I hear all the time?
Go on.
Do you know like Sam Fisher's goggles in Splinter Cell? That's the one.
Yeah.
So many TV shows use that when someone's using a camera, and I don't know why. That's not a sound cameras make, but so often you see people like a big telephoto lens, it's like pew.
Like it's charging up.
Why? That and the people being on fire in Time Splitters, there's like a scream they do.
Okay.
And I've heard that so many times in TV shows.
So weird, man.
It's the weirdest thing. Those 2 sound effects stand out so much to me.
Something that you're so familiar with.
And every time I hear, I'm just like, that's Sam Fisher. That's Time Splitters.
Bizarro world, man.
Anyway, I feel like I should plug plug their websites. So Ray is just Ray Ginsberg at SoundCloud, and Kevin MacLeod is Incompetech.
Yeah.
I think if anyone's out there is looking for free music, Incompetech is a great website.
It's the perfect place. That's the reason that so many people use it on YouTube, because it is music of a high quality that is available freely, and you could go online and you could search for royalty free music and go up for fucking weeks diving through thousands of pages of absolute trash, or you could just go somewhere where you're going to get something good, and Incompetech is a place like that. And there you go. Hot tip: Ray Ginsberg is somebody who does less popular royalty free music, albeit you need to acquire permission and search for him for 4 years before you can find a way to contact him.
Yeah. Also, I use like half of the music he made, and he doesn't make any more now.
So when people actually go to use it and they use it in their game, somebody somewhere down the line is going to be like, "They've stolen this music from last week."
Yeah, who do them guys think they are? Man, like the ultimate case of stealing music is a game. It's just like, it's barely a game, but it's called like Life of Black Tiger or something. And for some reason, like Sony promoted this. They put on the official PlayStation channel like a trailer, and it is like such just like a bad mess of a game that barely works. And in the trailer, it's just like footage of this tiger running around, and then this took some guy's cover from YouTube of him playing an anime theme song on a piano. I just put that in. That's all the sound. And Sony's like, "We're promoting this video.
We're going to sell this game."
Yeah. I'll show you after, right? But it is a masterpiece of just shitty game design.
You can put it in the edit.
Yeah. So that's the only reason I'm mentioning it. I need things to put in the back end of these videos.
Sure.
I keep reusing the same clips over and over again.
You can't just put the Jack Troll and Kirby sucking all the time over and over again.
You say that, don't tempt me.
You can now, because I've mentioned them.
Yeah, perfect. We'll go get him in the next week's episode as well, that troll. He's the new mascot.
Squeeze him in there. He is my favorite character in this show.
Anyways, back to the thing.
Yep.
So the game was almost complete. Just needs like a little bit of polish and clean up here and there. It was, as I said before, it was more complete than most like early access games that go on Steam.
Yeah, and once the polish was done and stuff, I guess it was. And at this point, you probably could have released it on Steam, which coincidentally you have now, available now on Steam.
Well, I was going to, but I also knew I was leaving Japan in like a month's time.
Yeah, of course.
And so I was like, should I just release it on Steam now, or should I wait until I go to Canada? Because you have to like put all the tax information in, you have to like set it up as like a company.
Right, that makes sense.
And if I set it up in Japan and then moved, I'd have to set it all up again.
And change location and stuff.
And so it wasn't worth it. And I was like, I'll just wait until I go to Canada. What's the worst that could happen?
What is the worst that could happen?
We'll talk about the worst that could happen next week.
Oh, shit. Keep people in suspense. We'll end the episode on a cliffhanger.
It was a bit of a mess. But we'll go over it eventually. But,
we did.
For now, I think we should wrap up with a bit of Big Kev and his spicy segments.
Big old Kev. Brilliant. Best section.
So, on Big Kev's spicy segments this time, we had another comment that said the exact same thing as last week's comment.
They loved it, right?
I thought that's a bit weird.
And they had the same icon.
Yeah, but a different name. And so I went on the guy's channel, and it was the same channel.
Yeah,
and he said, like, last time I had it, like, this is not Cole's channel, it's owned by his father.
And we have something like, we have sponsored commentators or something like that.
It was like, the name was changed to, like, just a regular name. It was like Jeff or something. And then it said, like, this is not Jeff's channel, it's owned by his father.
I think it was just reposting other people's videos or something. Because I took a look at one of the videos, and it was a legitimate video. Like, it was legitimately someone talking about how to unlock a certain item in Fortnite. And yeah, I didn't look at more than one, so I didn't notice if it was different voices, different people talking or something. But I think they were just jacking other people's videos and trying to steal them for views,
But then the channel got deleted by YouTube, and I think it was another bot somehow.
Yeah.
So we're back at -2 comments this week, as tradition dictates. And so I figured, every week we'll look at the comments. We'll laugh at how few there are, but we should actually like address them for once.
Yeah, let's do it.
And so I sent you a nice playthrough I found on YouTube by a guy called Griffin Gaming. He honestly he does a great playthrough of the game. If anyone's interested in the game and wants to see someone play it through, go check out a couple episodes of his like run through.
I haven't watched it, but I have read all the comments, and I've pulled out a good selection for your listening pleasure.
Okay, lay them on me.
So,
if there's any questions, I'll answer them.
Ajax the Werewolf, he said, foxes, the cornerstone to every great game. Who agrees? Come on, who hasn't played Star Fox Adventures and felt better about themselves? That's a legitimate question.
Isn't that game like widely seen as one of the worst Star Fox games?
Well, that's why you feel better about yourself, obviously. Like, this Star Fox game is trash. So I feel better about myself by proxy.
Do you think like every game would be better if there was a fox in it?
Possibly.
Well, saying that, I was going to say what if Legend of Zelda had foxes in, but that is just Star Fox Adventures, right?
Essentially, yeah, that's true. Well, funny you should say that, because one of the comments actually references Zelda later. But I've got loads of them, by the way. This is going to be fun.
Okay.
So, Game Stressed said, I like the game so far. Reminds me of game novels.
Wait, like as in the Choose Your Own Adventure one starring Jack Trolls?
Well, yeah, I think that might be what he's getting at. Either that, or the visual novel style of game, which is very prevalent in mobile gaming and PS Vita and stuff like that. I can't remember the name of any specific ones now, but like Danganronpa and stuff like that. The kind of part gameplay, part story, like that you just play. I suppose Hotel Dusk, we both talked about that quite a lot.
Yeah, I love that game.
Room 512, yeah, on the DS. That was kind of a visual novel game, like a detective game with puzzly elements. It was a really cool game, and I think more games should be like that. But yeah, I think I picked that comment out because we've talked about game novels quite a bit when we've been doing the show, and an inspiration behind what you were trying to achieve. So that made sense. That rang true with me, that the Game Stressed had said that.
Yeah, like I can see the link between visual novels in my game and also game books, if that's what he meant.
Yeah, and either way, I think he's hit the nail on the head with that comment. Here we go. Jack's Vidstar said, this game is like the furry Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask, but with an extra 4 days.
That's just Star Fox Adventures again.
Yeah, exactly. But you can see where he's going with that. Obviously, the world ending, the catastrophe, trying to change the course of events before the world implodes or the moon crashes into the earth in the case of Majora's Mask.
I'll take that as a great compliment, because Majora's Mask is amazing. I love that game.
It's an incredible game. And was that something that you were slightly inspired by, or?
I think my main inspirations were the social side of Persona, a little bit of Animal Crossing, and there was a bit of Zelda in there.
Yeah, I mean, I think more the ending of the world thing in Majora's Mask is what he's driving at there, but it's not something that you've mentioned as being one of your influences, but maybe subconsciously it was part of your thoughts.
In the bedroom of the game, I put a poster for Persona on the wall because that's one of the influences.
Yeah,
and then the two games at the N64 are Animal Crossing and Zelda.
Zelda, yeah, I noticed that. That's so there you go. It is definitely something that came into consideration. Merle Whitefire says, this game is ruining my face, Jesus.
Sorry.
Tailstraw, I put this one in because it could actually go into your grammar sucks. Holy crap, thos game made me think and also gave me a sad.
Sorry about giving you a sad, and also sorry about the grammar.
It was never your intention. Exenvire says, dude, wow, this game pulls at the heartstrings. It's definitely competing against Angels with Scaly Wings for the most heart-pulling game I've ever seen.
I don't know what that game is.
You don't know what that game is, but that's a hell of a compliment, man. Somebody is telling you that not only do they like your game, but they feel that your writing and your story and world building is enough to pull at people's heartstrings, man.
He's only played those two, though. And that one's like a light-hearted comedy.
Yeah, he's never played any other games.
no, but seriously, like, I did notice a few people were saying like how emotional they found the game. Mm-hmm. I thought that was quite interesting, because let's be honest, it's kind of a pretentious game at a lot of points. And whenever you make anything, it's kind of like pretentious and arty. It always goes one of two ways: either people like are really into it and will like dig in and find the depth and like get emotion invested.
Sure.
Or they'll go, what a prick.
But true. But I think as humans, naturally we have empathy. It's why we can feel sorry for like a spatula that gets snapped, or a pen that gets broken, and we miss inanimate objects that we lose because we can attach meaning to so much. And in your game, you've created characters, and that has immediately given every single one of these characters some meaning. And because it's a tragic series of events that follows, people are going to feel empathy towards that, and it is going to pull at the heartstrings slightly. So I think that comment in of itself, it just shows that you have done a good job in creating the characters.
I also think Ray's music helps with that a lot. As I said before, like he's got like really emotional music. I feel
audio and visual cues again, man. Going back to that, you can make anything seem deep and meaningful by laying. Look at all of the shitty talent shows that are all over the TV now. People are crying at those because they fucking overlay some sad track over somebody's hard luck story about how they came to be on stage at the X Factor given their last audition that got them through, and then they change the music and make a laugh track for when somebody is really shit at singing. Fuck your backstory, you can't sing, dickhead.
Oh man, those shows are such garbage.
Yeah, hot garbage, man. Unstable Metal Misanthrope said, as a gator, I do not condone the thoughts or actions of the gator in this game, but I'm happy they changed for the better.
The YouTube video in question, I think the guy who owns it is a furry, and a lot of his followers are furries.
Well, this person's a gator, so they're not a furry.
Is it like a scaly?
I guess, or just an alligator. How they manage to type, I don't know.
It's an actual like alligator.
Yeah, it's like, I don't condone the actions of the gator in this game, but I do condone eating anything that comes near the water. Draco Crowley says, keep playing this one. Every time you do, it makes me more tempted to go get this for myself. Draco Crowley, go get the game for your fucking self, mate.
I did notice a few people in the comments were saying like, oh, like I'm going to go pick this game myself, it's great. And then I looked at the sales after that was posted, it's like, they didn't do that at all.
They did not. Ixenvire again, coming back. That was, this is Ixenvire who claimed the game pulled at his heartstrings, or hers heartstrings, their heartstrings. Every time you play through, something happens that's completely unexpected. I definitely look forward to the next playthrough, regardless of what happens. And I think, that's testament to your writing as well, because something unexpected happens every time they see part of this game.
That's kind of what I was getting into last time. Well, not last time, maybe 2 episodes ago. Where it's not very front-loaded, and you have to like kind of dig for the content.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think if you give it a chance, it's interesting because there's always new, interesting things you're finding. But it's not like given to you at the get-go. Like, here's a bunch of interesting stuff.
Yeah, kind of expect the unexpected. Dive deep, but expect the unexpected when you get there.
Yeah. So it's kind of a double-edged sword in that way, I think.
Yeah, that makes sense. Knight's Angel says that the saddest part is, no matter what, you can't help everyone.
There was going to be an ending for that, but I took it out. So, yeah, they're going to die.
Sucks to be you, Knight's Angel.
Yeah. There is a way to have everyone live apart from you and the chicken, though.
Ah, okay.
I won't say how, and it's still not a happy ending, but you can stop other people from dying.
McKinsey Schick says, God, this game is so wild and amazing. One wrong move, and it can throw your whole plan out of whack.
So don't make that wrong move, I guess.
Yeah, that's kind of what we were talking about with the old adventure books as well, You get to the end, you're like, did you pick up the potion? What fucking potion? Oh, god damn it. Start over.
Yeah, so, except in the adventure books, you just cheat, and this you can't.
Yeah, exactly. I have it. I have the potion. Fuck you, book. Aggressive Princess says, I think I get what that horse is talking about.
So that horse is talking about killing themselves and how depressed they are. I really hope they don't get what that horse is talking about.
Poor Aggressive Princess, please don't kill yourself. We do not condone that kind of behaviour.
I like your username, by the way.
Aggressive Princess is a good one,
yeah.
Merle Whitefire, this game seems perfectly made for you. Honestly, the whole premise of your death is inevitable, but you can help people, regardless of what sort of person they are, seems very true.
That was kind of one of the big themes I was going for with the writing. I've been watching a lot of The Leftovers, which is a great show. Everyone should check out The Leftovers.
Okay, I'm not familiar with it.
And it's kind of, the idea of the show is one day, like a big percentage of the population just instantly vanishes all at the same time.
Oh wow!
And people like forming cults, people turning religion, saying like it was the rapture and they were taken to heaven, and then they're like, why are we still left here? Like we were good people. And it's like a whole bunch of different things happen.
That sounds quite interesting.
And it's about like people trying to make sense of what happened and like where they've gone, how to live without it, like all that stuff. And in the end, the series, it doesn't really wrap up why that happened. The point of the series is more like about the people and like what they did after that, and like how they're living their lives more than like what the event was.
Okay, that's quite interesting.
I found that like a really interesting way to go about it. It's kind of similar with Mr. Robot, with a big part of that where it's kind of like leading towards like, what is this thing? And then the end's like, it doesn't matter what the thing was. What's important is the characters and like how they were dealing with the thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And so like it was a kind of similar thing of like, at the end, like it tells you straight away like the world's going to end, the people are going to die. but it's about what you do up until that point.
But I found it really difficult to believe that the world was going to end when I played the version of it that I played.
It doesn't always. Yeah. That's another option. You know, what happens if you are very set on the world is going to end and it doesn't?
It's a bit of the Chicken Little effect, isn't it? Because it is the chicken who reveals it at the beginning, you know. And I'm not talking about the movie Chicken Little, but the sky is falling premise, you know, the chicken, the old fable.
That's actually what they're named after, because in England, Chicken Little was called Henny Penny.
Ah, okay.
And the chicken's called Penny in the game.
That's clever. Very clever. I didn't realize that is a reference that I missed. Anyway, the final comment that I've got here is Ixenvire again, whose heartstrings were pulled by this game existing. This game is so interesting. I loved how you had to figure out how people worked and what they needed. And it actually affected me in real life too, XD. Thanks so much for playing through it. I love it when you do games like this, and thank you to these patrons for funding it.
It seems like people really enjoyed his playthrough. Honestly, I watched his playthrough and he does a great job of playing it.
That's cool. And he seemed to play... Did he play it more than once?
Yeah, it seemed like he was starting it as like just a one-off thing. Then he got really into it and was like, I need to see what happens next. And ended up playing maybe like 80% of the game. That's
cool, man. I think it has that effect on people, you know. It like you say, that you've created characters in a world that's believable. And regardless of whether... you know, these people are watching it because they like the style of the characters for whatever reason. You know, they are getting a kick out of the characters as well, on a human level. So I think that's really nice to hear.
Yeah, I'd say there's maybe like 3 endings he didn't show, but it's like he showed most of the content.
Okay, wow, that's good. So if you want to watch, if you don't want to buy the game, which you should, go and watch that playthrough, because it is, like you say, it's well done.
Or even if you're just curious about it, you can go watch like an episode and get the gist of what the game's like.
Get an idea of what the gameplay's about and stuff.
Is that all for comments?
Yeah, that's all I had. That's all I pulled out.
Well, I think it's time for the tag game, the final tag.
Oh, the final tag. The final tag down.
I think that every time I'm like, I was thinking of like the final episode next time, and I was like, I know we're going to say the final countdown at some point.
Oh, really? Oh, man. You should have put some fucking money on that.
You've beat me to it.
Yeah, I have. Gone one episode early.
So I think, you know, people are searching for the hot games at the moment. If you put like Fortnite in the tags, people are going to be finding that. And so I'm going to go for the hottest game. I'm going to get us 1 million views.
Oh, yeah.
My tag this week, Star Fox Adventures.
Oh, yeah, boy. And boom, boom, boom. The best game. The best Legend of Zelda game that came out.
You know, the foxes are the cornerstone of every amazing game.
Every game. I like it, man. 1 more to go.
Yeah, I think that about wraps us up. See you next week for the finale.
See you next time.
You say that so quickly.
Yeah. I'll be back.
Okay, bye.